obviously this is going to tie into the last real topic that I really want to get through, and this is the most practical out of all of them. And that's the law of action, the law of momentum, and the law of change. Because, quite frankly, we can sit here and visualize and meditate all day about the things in which we want, but the action is what comes. The action is what's necessary. So, naturally getting into a state of silence where you just want to feel that feeling. So regardless of the visualizations that are happening, you just have that feeling. Then really, each and every action that comes about will be the one that needs to be done. Because if you're always feeling into that deepening feeling, then everything that's going to happen is going to kind of play out the way it needs to. As we spoke about last time, we're having that faith. You set the vision, but then you let go of it. You're not thinking about it every day over and over about this vision, because really you're just wasting your time. And you're procrastinating in the concept of you acting upon that vision, acting upon what that goal is. When a tiger in nature is hungry, it doesn't sit around and think about being hungry. It doesn't think about, it'd be so amazing if I killed that deer and I got it, and it would take a while to eat, but I feel good, and then, I can chill out. It doesn't think about any of those things, obviously. But it just does it. It just acts upon it, and it does it. And then when it's hungry again, after, another 5 months or whatever, I wish I could eat every moment, but then it acts again, and it acts again, and it acts on impulse, because if it doesn't, it's going to die. So, when you have a certain vision in front of you, or imagination of what you want in reality, naturally, the actions that need to happen will be right in front of you. Okay, if I want to go start a new business, I need to first go and maybe research a couple of things. Then after that, I need to go maybe to the city hall. I wouldn't recommend that, just do it on the internet. Go on the internet and figure out how to start the business. Talk to people about my idea. Talk to people about how I can do this. Act upon it constantly, and see how you can make the next step, and then kind of like that stair step, right? But really, it doesn't even matter about those steps, because most of us don't even take that first one. Because going into the concept of momentum, what's the hardest part about momentum? Like you're pushing a gigantic boulder, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's so difficult. And most of us give up before the pushing even really gets going. So, when you're constantly acting, and momentum comes on two levels. It comes on micro level and macro level. So on micro level, when I'm sitting on my couch, and I want to go cook something for dinner, but I know how long it's going to take, I'm just hating it. But then you got to get up and you go start cutting the vegetables, and you start cooking, and you start doing it, and you get in momentum. All of a sudden you cook a beautiful meal, you reap the rewards after, and then boom, there's the momentum. But then of course, now you have to go wash the dishes, and once again you repeat the process. And this is the constant state of micro-momentum that you're having to face all the time. Because you're constantly getting pushed out of your comfort zone, firstly. And secondly, we've become so resistant to change. So resistant to change. So anything that revolves any sort of getting up and doing something else, naturally you're not going to want to do it, in the beginning at least. Until it gets to a place where you automatically just habitually do what needs to get done. You understand that the resistance is actually not a negative thing. Now it's a positive thing to you, because you know that if I push through that resistance, that ultimately that it's going to get me to where I want to go or what I need to get. And from those constant, micro level momentum pushes, I always use the example, the most simple of things about washing the dishes or throwing, garbage into a pail and you see it fall over and you don't go pick it up. Those little things is what's just going to actually build up and manifest into the macro level. So over that week period, by the end of the week, you're just grinding, you're hitting it up, you're doing your business, you're doing whatever you need to do, and everything's flowing as it needs to. Because you worked upon that moment by moment in each and every situation that you had that chance and opportunity to do so. So, micro, macro level is there. Now it's obviously understanding resistance to change. Once again, you look at nature, everything is changing all the time, constantly. Your life should be like this. You should want to constantly go through this change and renewal. Naturally your body regenerates itself every 11 months. You have a completely new body every 11 months. You go to the washroom every day, you get rid of toxins, you get rid of the garbage in your house, in the recycling, and you constantly go through this process. But naturally, when we back it up, when we don't go through that process, this is when problems usually occur. So when we're resistant to change, when we're resistant to new things flowing in and out of our life, then naturally we're just stopping the flow, stopping the process. And this really comes down to developing a strong foundation. Everything we talk about in this lifestyle center is, no fad diets, no get ripped in 2 weeks. It just doesn't make any sense. Because the concept of thinking that if you just do this for a couple weeks, you're good. I do this for a couple days, I'm good. I don't need to keep doing it. I can go back to the life I had before, but everything got solved. But naturally, when you don't build that foundation, change will always fall apart for you. You know, for me, for instance, you know, it took me forever to get to waking up early in the morning. And the days in which I wake up a bit later, maybe like 7 or 8, all of a sudden everything's falling apart. My day is slow, I'm not doing the work I need to do, I'm procrastinating a bit. And immediately I know that one day of slipping up is already messing up my kind of mojo, right? Most of us we'll let it go for a couple of weeks. We won't work out for 2 weeks, we won't eat well for 3. And naturally it's so difficult to get it going again. How difficult is it to keep going again? So if you focus on developing that foundation moment by moment in a gradual sense, not an overnight sense, and you develop those habits over whatever period of time, naturally that foundation will be so strong that when the change comes, you will be ready for it and you can change and you can go with it. And the habits are all in place in which where and when they need to be. But if you forget about that, if you forget about those habits and those daily things in which you're doing, you know, I always tell people, and whenever I do interviews or anything for people that want to come in and be a part of this, I always ask them, what is your daily routine? What is your daily routine? Because through a daily routine, you can immediately sense the nature of somebody. Are they very erratic? Are they more structured? Are they doing things almost, the same every day? They have some freedom, but they know that these main things are waking up early, meditating every day, eating well, drinking a lot of water, being in sunlight, these types of things, that naturally my day will be gradually the same. And gradually moving like this, not like, because who wants that? No one really wants that. We want to have some sense of control. So, law of action, law of momentum, law of change, they're pretty much all the same thing. The vision in which you set requires action. And remember that, there's a beautiful quote I read in this amazing book when I went to Costa Rica. I'm going to try and remember it, I should have wrote it down. But it was something on the lines of, no action that needs to get done is unnecessary. And that obviously makes a lot of sense. But a lot of us seem to, and I used to do this all the time, especially trying to run this business, I just want to be the visionary. I just want to be the guy thinking of all the ideas I do. I don't want to sweep the floors. I don't want to even teach class anymore. I don't want to do these things. But naturally, when you understand that the only way that vision is going to manifest is if I do those things, and I do them day by day, and constantly improve upon them, and then eventually maybe someone else will do it. But if I'm not willing to do those things, then naturally nothing will ever come about. That vision will never come about. Because you view these little menial things as unnecessary. But those are the things in which are proving to you what principles are moving from. So, something to think about. So this last meditation, right on time, is going to be focused on, I was thinking about it today, what the best thing to call it, and I would call it, there's a concept called restful awareness, which is kind of like how you're in meditation. So when I ask you to focus on your breathing, it's not like a direct, all my energy focused on this breathing. That's kind of defeating the purpose. It's like a restful awareness. It's a restful attention on the breath. So you're seeing it going in and out, but you're still aware of everything else that's going on in your body. And it's very light. So what this meditation is going to kind of help you do is understand kind of restful trust, or an idea that all the actions of which need to occur for me to manifest this vision that I just imagined naturally will kind of present themselves as they are needed. I don't need to think about what I'm doing in 2 weeks from now. I can just think about what is happening right now, and by the time those 2 weeks come, if I did the things I need to, then naturally it will be there. So it's not much of a visualization, it's more of a feeling, it's more of an understanding, it's more of a kind of an affirmation to yourself to constantly trust that the actions that I need to do, it's like, what do I got to do next? Where do I need to go? Who do I meet?